Crazy story. I was actually in Rome traveling and got a video from my property manager of my garage burning down. The story was the boyfriend, we had just bought this house 10 days ago. We hadn't even had a chance to meet the tenants yet. And the boyfriend cheated on the girlfriend. She took a baseball bat to all of our windows in the house, went to the gas station, got one of those red containers of gasoline, dumped it on his car, and literally blew up our garage. So not only did it burn down our garage, but our neighbors' garages as well. And the only thing I got was a video at 3 o'clock in the morning from the alley of just our garage burning down. One of the core things when you're looking at becoming a real estate investor is who your team is, right? That team includes your agent, your property manager, your contractors, your attorney, your CPA. There's so many people that you need on your team that have to be qualified so that you can enjoy your life. That's the point of all this, right? The point of all this is to be able to have financial freedom and not have to work as much. So by having a strong team in place that you can rely on, then you can go to Mexico, take vacations, travel with your kids, right? Do all the things that you wanted to do and not have to stress about what's going on at home. I'm here to talk to you about real estate investing. I am a real estate agent, so I'm the managing broker of Second City Real Estate. I've been an investor for 12 years now, and I help clients build their investment portfolio. My story is quite interesting. I was 17 years old. My parents were getting divorced, and I came home from school, and the real estate agent was at our house talking to my parents about paperwork, marketing, how they're going to sell their house because they were getting divorced and they had to sell it to split their assets. So I sat down with this agent, and 2 hours later, I was still talking to her, and she told me, you were born to do real estate. I want you to come work for me. I was 17 years old. I was still in high school. I had no plans, didn't know what I wanted to do as far as college was concerned. So I decided not to go to college, and I was going to work for her and become a real estate agent. In the state of Illinois, you had to be 21 to be licensed. So I worked side jobs and other things. And I worked for her every Sunday for 3 years until I can get licensed to be a real estate agent. Took my courses when I was 20 years old. The day I turned 21, I signed up to take my real estate licensing course because I was going to be a realtor. And I had dreams and visions in my head from the mother from American Beauty, right? That's how I envisioned being a high-powered realtor would be. 6 months into the job, I absolutely hated it. Hated going to work, struggled being a realtor. A lot of things were against me. I was 21 years old, and no one wanted to trust a 21-year-old on buying a house. The other problem I had was I didn't speak their language. I would go do showings with clients, and they would talk about how it made them feel and the colors and the layout of the house. And I would just stare blankly back at them because I didn't understand those things. I understood numbers. So I would show them things like, hey, this house is selling for X amount of dollars per square foot. The houses in the neighborhood are selling for this amount per square foot. So you're actually getting a good deal on the house. And there was a huge communication gap, right? So after 6 months on the job, I decided this was not what I wanted to do. And I was going to go into something else. So I went into corporate advertising, spent almost 10 years doing that, and just kept my license active. Every 2 years, I would do my CE and renew my license on the chance that maybe someday if things blow up with work, I could always fall back on this. It wasn't until 2011 when I was actually 2010. I was looking with my fiance. We were trying to figure out our life plan, and we were looking for a condo in the Chicago market. And I saw that 2 to 4 unit properties were selling for slightly more than condos in the neighborhoods that we were looking at, and half the price of single family homes. So we decided we were going to buy a 2 to 4 unit property, right? We can have it 3 units. This could be our forever home eventually. All we needed to do was when we needed more space was move a staircase, right? Open up some walls. Now we've got a 2-story house. And eventually down the road when we had kids, right, we could take out another wall, move a staircase, and now we had a 3-story house. So that was always the plan. We bought a property for $300,000 with an FHA loan, right? We had our entire life savings. We had saved up, I think it was $15,000 to be able to buy this house. And that's what we did. We bought a property in August 2011. I'd never read any sort of book on real estate investing. I had never talked to another real estate investor. We posted an ad on the internet, right? I didn't know what tenant screening was. I didn't know what lease terms were. I just thought, hey, I'll just rent it out to people who, qualified and seemed like they could afford the rent. Luckily, it went very well for us. Our tenants stayed for about 3 years each, and I still talk to them to this day. We had lots of backyard. We all had dogs, so we had lots of backyard parties. where 10:30 in the morning, you take your dog out back, and then someone would mention having a margarita. And next thing, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're still in your pajamas in the backyard with your tenants, and their dogs are playing. And like, that was our life, right? So what happened was, about a couple months after we bought the property, my father got diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer. He was given about 6 to 9 months to live and ended up passing about 8 months later. And at the time, he was set to retire. So he was 60 years old. He was just about to be turning 60 years old. Yeah, he was 60 years old and had been working for the US Post Office for 30 years. And they'd always given him buyout options. And he always said, I'll retire after you get married, or I'll retire after your brother graduates college. And when I retire, I'm going to go to Thailand. And when I retire, we're going to go travel. We're going to do all these cool things when I retire. He got so sick so quickly, he ended up passing away the day before he was set to retire. So we had planned his retirement party for him and ended up having to turn it into his weight. And it really messed with me personally. For months, I'd sat there and thought, man, like, I've been doing this corporate thing for almost 10 years now. I travel all over the country. I work 60 hours a week. I can't really take vacations. I'm expected to still be answering client emails and calls when we're on vacation. And I've got another 30 years of this before I retire. Like, how am I going to survive this? What else can I do? And that's it. We had our property for less than a year at that point, and it made a lot of sense to us that our tenants were super nice. We loved hanging out in the backyard with them. And I thought to myself, I've had my license, I've maintained my license. I could do this. I could buy more properties, right? And this could be how I retire. So I started getting into like more of the cash flow, right? Understanding those sort of things. And it wasn't until we had bought our third property that I was Googling some sort of zoning question. And I remember specifically because it was the week of Thanksgiving. So if you ever worked in an office, the week of Thanksgiving is one of those weeks. It's like a throwaway week, right? Your clients are early in the office, but you don't want to take vacation time and waste your vacation time. So you sit there for 10 hours a day, right? Not really doing much. And I had this question about zoning. So I Googled it. This website came up, BiggerPockets.com, and it had a couple of answers to my questions. So I started like reading through the forums, and I found this whole community of real estate investors, and my world flipped upside down. I remember getting the award for The Addict. The Addict meant you logged in every single day for 30 days. I got it exactly 30 days after I found the website. That's what launched my real estate investing, really. I got into real estate investing for the financial freedom. I wasn't going to spend the next 30 years of my life working corporate jobs and having no flexibility for travel and lifestyle. I got into real estate investing because I had a personal loss in my family, that my father never got to retire and live those years that he always talked about. And I knew that I had to take this opportunity to do it. I knew I needed to get into real estate, right? When my boss told me that I couldn't take a trip for the next 6 months because I was too busy at work. And even then, I was only able to take a 1-week trip to Istanbul, which was my #1 bucket list place to go. So I'm here to tell you how anyone can build wealth through real estate investing. I'm here to tell you how to manage properties so that they're stress-free. I'm here to tell you how to get quality tenants that aren't going to knock on your door at 11 o'clock at night for a broken toilet. I'm here to tell you about different strategies within real estate investing.